Hey, folks, thanks for joining us. Here we are on another episode of What the Health is Going On with Mike Z and special guest, Dr. Howard Cohn. Dr. Cohn is the founder of the Cohn Health Institute in Southern California, where he's trained over 50 doctors, treated over 50,000 patients, and it's an ongoing practice that's like waiting list. And if you want to get in there, you got to call now and you'll get in somewhere in the middle of the summer. But we're so glad to have Dr. Cohn on the panel here tonight. He's the expert from the health field. And so, Doc, welcome.
Thanks, Mike. And what the health is going on? That's awesome. I love
That's the new title of our show, just so you know.
I like it.
Yeah, the advertisers really seem to like it. So,
yeah.
So obviously, let's kind of hit it with a punch, because of what's going on right now. Actually, is this worldwide craze of the coronavirus or the COVID-19. And, we've seen things come and go before. H1N1 was back in 2009. There were like 20,000 cases in the US. A couple thousand people unfortunately passed away, but there wasn't this craze. Doc, what's going on with this coronavirus right now?
Really the same thing that's gone on, just like you said, every 2 years when there's an election year. So you could actually track it every 2 years. There was either Zika, there was the Zika virus, H1N1, avian flu. There was Ebola. There was MRSA or MERS. There was SARS. Every 2 years, there's something that's going to kill us all, right? And somehow it doesn't. But another piece of our medical freedom or health freedom has been eroded. People are crazed in hysteria. Although this has reached a new high, at least at the recording of this, and I'm sure we're just at the beginning of Crazy Town. And while it is sad that people die from a lot of things. And if you look at the category of the immune compromised person that is dying versus the tens of thousands of people, maybe hundreds of thousands by now, that have been exposed, that get it like they get a cold each and every day and their immune system recovers the way it's supposed to. Nobody talks about that. There's definitely an agenda going on. The media is definitely being spoon-fed information that they are vomiting on everyone, and everyone's running out for some reason to stock up on toilet paper, as if this is somehow going to lead to a need for more toilet paper. So go figure. I don't really get it. I mean, I understand it. The end game, although that's probably not what we're going to talk about on this call or this Zoom call, is really the end game is to mass vaccination of adults. And the only way to actually do that is to create a scare to make everybody want to do it, even though they don't need it. And the majority of the people the overwhelming majority, like almost all in comparison percentage-wise, of the people, even in the Wuhan province that have been exposed, have been released or back home and are healthy. So, God-given natural immunity that happens. But again, the people that would have been ill, that have gotten ill, even the people that have passed away, which is always sad from everything, would have had the same thing happen from probably the flu or any kind of a pneumonia that they might have gotten in the hospital, or things that happen every day in greater numbers, much greater numbers, whether it's the amount of military that commit suicide daily, the amount of people die from opioid complications, the amount that die from hospital error, properly prescribed FDA-approved pharmaceuticals, and the side effect of death, which is so many for so many people. We don't really craze about that. No one's buying a mask for that. That's not going to work anyway. So it's nonsense. And, obviously we know, because we are a part of a movement that we've been involved for a long time, making sure that people actually stay healthy and build their immune system, build their nervous system, build their wellness by feeding the body natural, organic, alkaline, whole food nutrition, which throughout the history of time has kept healthy people healthier and helped the ill become healthier. So that's really what I would focus people on. But it's hard when your national sporting events are being canceled and you're a season ticket holder to something and everyone's afraid to touch everyone else. And you're planning your trip to Italy, but now not only can't go, but you're watching nonsense on the news where people can't kiss each other on the cheek even. I mean, it's so I feel like the twilight zone.
But yeah,
And
that's what it seems like for me as
yeah,
well. You know, you see, I mean, in Italy, they've actually closed their borders. You can't go in or can't get out. I mean, you got to go into 14-day quarantine. And interesting fact that you pointed out is that, you know, yeah, there's a lot of people, and obviously the news cycle is captivated the world to basically, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. Yet, you know, I was watching a doctor's program earlier today where he said 250 people die from aspirin every single day. Nobody's talking about that, you know, where you have what you had brought up, the flu, where there's going to be, you know, tens of thousands of people that get it and die from it this year. And yet nobody's talking about that. So it really is crazy. So my also understanding is that, you know, it looks like this particular coronavirus and other viruses actually seem to feed on glucose. And obviously people are carbohydrate overloaded to death. But what
right.
would people be doing from a supplement side of, like, what would be a few things that they could take other than the things we're going to talk about that would really kind of boost their immune system to really kind of be prophylactic in other words?
Well, it's interesting you brought up glucose, or more accurately, sugar. And, you know, sugar's a poison. It tastes good, but at the end of the day, it's still a poison. People call it a zero nutrient. It's not a zero nutrient. It's a negative nutrient, because sugar cane has B vitamins and minerals and other things in it that get refined out in order to create white sugar. So when we eat it, it robs our body of precious nutrients. And so we're stuck, you know, so we're eating this stuff. And so sugar feeds viruses, it feeds funguses, it feeds bacteria, it lowers your immune function. It does all those different things. So everyone's worried about what they should be taking. You should be worried about what you should not be doing, right? The other thing, too, that's naturally always been there, put by nature and God, is raw green foods. Raw green foods, and the bitter of raw green foods offsets the cravings for sweets, and helps balance and maintain blood sugar naturally the way it was designed. So, you know, we always recommend eating and taking greens. You know, we have something in the secret world, the Life by Secret world, called our daily essentials. It starts with our greens right here. We have little green caps, which are like wheatgrass, barley grass, oatgrass in a capsule that people can take. Start their day with natural green energy, oxygen. Again, we know that infection has a hard time living in the presence of oxygen, and promulgating in the same thing. So if we can oxygenate our body with raw green foods, like people should do, but most people don't, because they'd rather eat a donut than broccoli, that's the problem. So that's number one. Some people really have it as an addiction, because the same parts of your brain that are stimulated by cocaine and heroin are stimulated by sugar.
Wow.
And so it's very hard to actually break those cycles. So for those that are stuck, eat greens not enough, we recommend they take our Curb product, which helps curb those cravings, primarily for sugar, for crappy, salty products and things like that. So those are two things that we recommend that offset what's going on there. Yeah.
Okay, so with the greens, obviously that's been a very essential product, or certainly a product that I've used through the Life by Secret product line. And, you know, I take the capsules during the day because that seems to give me a little bit more of a boost. I do the greens in my shake, but, you know, I've been hearing that it's more and more. It used to be 5 servings of raw vegetables a day is what we were needed for really good health. But now I'm hearing it's actually tilted more towards 10. Is that
Right.
is that accurate? Is that kind of that's where we're headed?
Yeah, only because everyone's been not just eating other things that create the need for more, because of the genetic modification of foods and pesticides and herbicides and things that we've been exposed to, Roundup, things that mess with our guts, even the things we don't see, like the electromagnetic pollution and soup that we're in every day from Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and now 5G, which are really, now studies are coming out and evidence to show that it's kind of ripping apart people's guts and adding to it.
Wow.
We don't absorb things the same way. So we actually have to, you know, have at least 9 servings. Some people say to offset what's going on, they might have to have 20 servings. So it's really it's not impossible, but it's really challenging to just live like a rabbit all day, which is why we create these, what I would call biohacks, which is a way to actually supplement it. Because people go, I don't need a supplement. I'm like, yeah, you do. I mean, because the supplement's just a definition of supplements to fill the gap between what you're getting, what you're supposed to be getting in your diet. For most people, that gap is widening. It's not getting narrower unless
Sure.
you're just living in a Whole Foods. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, we've definitely seen that. I know that through my personal experience, not just with my own health, but with the health of other folks that I've worked with, from athletes to just a stay-at-home mom that's looking for better health for her and her children, that, there is what we can get through food, and we can do the best we possibly can, but there's still a giant gap of what we're
Right.
not getting in minerals and proteins and vitamins. I know that the supplementation is really an important part, certainly be a part of your clinic. For as many years as I have, it was a growing learning aspect for me as well. Because I mean, my view was, if I could eat, really good food, I'm probably okay. And you're like, even from the very beginning, you're like, no, you probably should be doing some additional things. So let's talk about protein real quickly, because there was a lot of questions that came in after our last "What the Health is Going On" program, and people said, well, for an athlete, what I've always taught the people that were competitive athletes, people that were weight training, running, that were doing sports, that they should have a ratio of something like maybe 1 gram per pound of body weight to really kind of fortify their body. People that weren't were, maybe around zero point 0.5 grams per pound of body weight. So if you're 100 pounds, then you need to eat 50 grams of protein. But a lot of folks say, well, I don't work out, I don't do any of that. Why should I take a protein supplement? What would be the answer, great answer for that?
Well, a lot of it comes down to quality of protein as well. And a lot of people are eating certain kind of proteins that are inflammatory proteins. They're hard to absorb, things like dairy proteins, heavy meat proteins. And why some body types and blood types do well with that kind of diet, not everybody does. And, across the board, not all, but certain plant-based proteins really are the difference makers for a lot of people. So where they can actually get protein, not need as much, but have an exponential effect from the protein that they're getting. So depending on, there's a lot of different types of awarenesses, even in the bodybuilding movement, where people are using less protein, but they're using a higher quality protein, so that are better able to absorb. They're buffering it with things like protein powders. And so there are the inflammatory ones, which are more, in some cases, like these processed, like soy isolates, the wheys and things like that. And then they're the ones where people have that tolerate better, which is like, fermented or sprouted brown rice, organic yellow pea, amaranth, quinoa, all the non-gluten containing, chia proteins.
Sure.
And obviously, we recommend we recommend a bunch of different things, but the one we recommend the most is the one. It's our big guy right here. Our Life by Secret shake comes with vanilla, comes in chocolate, and it's like gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, whey-free, nut-free, nightshade-free. Right now, 23 grams of protein per serving. And it's great. I mean, it tastes great. We beat everything in Whole Foods in a blind taste test when we originally launched it. Kids love it. Everybody seems to really enjoy it. And I take it every day. I'm actually, working out with a good friend of ours, Terry Harrison, as you know, is kicking my butt. So I'm having 2 to 3 shakes a day right now.
Awesome.
And sometimes it feels like it's not enough. Yeah.
Well, you have to understand that, it's a lifestyle, doc. It's a lifestyle.
Yes. Yeah.
But I have heard you've done great. I mean, I saw some workout videos of you online, and man, you're hitting it. That's awesome, man. We're all super proud of you. And it's exciting to see that, it really can be anybody at any time. There's never like too late to actually start. I know there's a lot of folks that say, well, I'm already 70, or I'm already 80, or I'm already, and it's like, wait a second, at any time we can kick it up a notch. And certainly the supplements you've spoken about already are really important. Now, there's also some questions that came in about our Digestex product, and it's
Sure.
digestive enzymes. And, a lot of people said, well, I already seem to digest food well. So, for people that think that they do, what would be the reason for taking Digestex? How much should they take, and kind of when should they take it?
Well, if people do have good digestion, well, first of all, you don't know what great is. You have whatever you have. And a lot of times you don't know what you don't know until you find out you didn't know it. If you're eating cooked foods, you need digestive enzymes. It's really not negotiable because those enzymes are destroyed when you cook the foods. Those foods are naturally occurring. Those enzymes are naturally occurring in the foods. And when we heat it above 118 degrees Fahrenheit, we actually start to destroy those enzymes. And then we need those enzymes to digest the food and break it down into a form that we can not just digest it, but absorb it and assimilate it. So a lot of people think, well, I'm pooping, so I must have good digestion or I don't get bloated. That doesn't mean that you're turning your food into energy as efficiently as you could. And obviously, again, if you're not pooping, you need enzymes. I mean, you really need to do it. I mean, because that's what people do. When your sink gets stopped up at home, you pour in Drano or Liquid Plumber, which are not the same kind of enzymes. So don't drink those. There are enzymes that dissolve sludge, and those enzymes will break that up. It's the same kind of concept. But really what we're more concerned about is that, people still will eat gluten and dairy and soy and heavy carbs sometimes, and proteins that are really tough to digest because they cook them a lot, or different fats that might be, let's say, rancid already because they cook those. There's enzymes in Digestex all in one. It is very unique because it's an all-in-one enzyme. Looks like this. And it's going to be D for Digestex. And it's got enzymes for gluten and dairy and soy and proteins, fat, and carbs all in one. So that's why when people take it, they go, I feel amazing, or they have more energy because enzymes are like a catalyst. So it's like having spark plugs. If you're not taking the enzymes, you don't have the spark.
Got it. Got it. Well, that makes total sense. I know that I've been taking more and more of them, and I seem to, I guess, without the bloating, I seem to starting to digest food a little bit better. But I guess we got to kind of play with it to find out what's the right amount for every individual. Everyone's different. So for me,
Right.
I'm finding that if I take one, if it's a light meal, or two, if it's more of a heavier protein-based meal, seems to be working a little bit better. So with all that, I mean, great information. So let's talk about, America's always looking to be number one again. And
Right.
it looks like we're actually going to be number one in 10 years is what the studies are saying. But according to the CDC, since everyone's heard of the CDC this week and the last couple of weeks, they said that right now there's 100 million people in America that are considered obese, and over 25 million of them are considered morbidly obese. Now, it's a sad state of affairs because people are drinking Coca-Cola and eating Cheetos, but when people say, well, I just can't seem to lose weight, it's like, eat less, move more. It's a pretty simple antidote. But, what can people use? You've talked about some products here tonight that we represent. Can that be a cornerstone for somebody to really kind of start their weight loss? Because, I mean, if we don't start getting a hold of this, we're going to become number one. We'll be the fattest nation in the world. That's so sad considering science and nutrition and medicine is so advanced here, yet we're just getting fatter and fatter. What's going on?
Yeah, I think Mexico is number one. And if you watch the documentary Globesity, Fat's New Frontier, I think Mexico now has type 2 diabetes as its number one killer over cancer and heart disease, where we've always had cancer and heart disease globally being number one and number two interchangeably, depending on what's going on in the world. And diet and nutrition is really the issue that feeds both obesity and type 2 diabetes. So we got to get a hold of that. It involves, good plant-based proteins. It involves greens, which are also full of protein, which we didn't talk about. It involves doing more of, like what you said, moving more and eating less. And so there's lots of different diets, fad diets, everything, but nothing in the history of man has ever been researched more with more definitiveness than what we would call caloric restriction, which means that just eating less stuff. And that doesn't mean eating less. Like someone like yourself is working out. Someone like myself now, I have to eat 5 times a day to lose weight, not gain weight, because it's what you're eating, how often you're eating, and how big a size of food you're eating. If I go 5 hours without eating, my body thinks it's starving, it's going to store fat. So it's not always the best thing. I mean, there's ways to hack it. I know, intermittent fasting and other things. But it really timing and what you eat, because that really doesn't work out well if what you eat during those 8 hours is crap. So everything is important and everything means something. So for anybody can kickstart their program. But like you said in the beginning, it's really a lifestyle. I mean, you have to do something that's sustainable. And so with our weight management made simple program, which is our shake and our greens powder, which we mix together, and then our recovery product that we kind of take during the day to make sure we recover from our life for the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and our alkaline booster to help make sure that our body is alkaline and mineral rich before we go to bed, so we sleep, because that's when we burn the most fat, and that's when we heal, is when we sleep. So this unique combination of these 4 products in 3 simple steps has really been something that's been a catalyst for hundreds of thousands of people over the last 8 years, that in all different countries and all different languages, because it affects everybody.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think that for most people, uh, because of what happens at home, they're eating a breakfast, whatever that is. They think that cereal and milk is a great way to start their day. And as you get older and older, and you have work, it's like a Danish and coffee. You're starting your body off and kind of robbed of any type of nutrients that can kind of get you through. And lunch is usually some kind of carbohydrate-rich sandwich or something that they're doing. Then they get home at night and they eat just the better part of a roast and mashed potatoes, kind of backwards. But when you're dealing with everyday people that are coming through your practice, are you also then saying, hey, listen, let's look at the 3 main meals that you are eating, and let's look at how we can supplement in between those with something that's healthy, like a greens and shake, or maybe a green apple and 10 almonds or something? Because even if you see, I don't know if you've read Mark Wahlberg, put up not too long ago his workout regimen. He starts early and he has several meals throughout the day, several healthy snacks throughout the day, because that's what helps him stay lean and helps his body always thinking that, hey, I have food coming in, I can let go of the fat that I'm holding on to. So is that kind of things that you recommend in your practice as well?
Sure. Different people do it different ways. We recommend that people eat smaller portions more often. And a lot of times it's so inconvenient to try and do that and work and raise children and get people from point A to point B if you're a parent, and, just have a life. So it's a lot easier because it takes, fast, and you can get your family through a drive-through. You can mix up your shake and greens and drink it, just mixing it with water in a shaker cup. So, again, for myself, I'm doing 2-3 times a day, and then I eat in between. So if I have a meal scheduled, I'll go out to dinner or something like that. That's what I do. But in the morning, if I'm on the run, I'm going to be doing a shake. Then I'll have a small meal later after, and then I'll have another shake, and then I'll have another small meal, and then I'll have another shake. So it's the best thing. And like you said, yes, if you're going to snack on food, not on crap. So, I mean, handful of almonds, or, a little nut butter or something on, something that's not really carbohydrate rich, or a handful of blueberries, or, stuff like you just described, an
Sure.
apple, things that are lower glycemic when it comes to fruits and things. So it will keep your body going. So this is what we recommend for most people. Everyone's a biochemical individual, though. Everyone has different things. And a lot of people hear this and they go, I've heard this before, blah, blah, blah. I've done different programs like this and they just don't work. They always work. They just don't work as fast for you and I as many other people. I mean, I don't really have the ectomorph genetics where like I could just, eat what I want and still be lean. We all have that friend that we hate that, can sit down to a meat lover's pizza and a 2-liter Coke, and they bitch that they can't put any weight on, which is still to this day just dumbfounding to me, the human body. But I mean, like, I could look at a donut and like really gain a pound. So I really don't have that. So I have to, I could sit and bitch about it and be fat, which is what I was doing, or I can do something about it and entrain my body by creating a lifestyle so that if I want to do it once or twice a week, it's not going to lead to the demise of my body and my fat and everything. So that's really the key is getting your body there and maintaining it as you do. Yeah.
Well, that's something that I took on years ago, and certainly things that I coached on was when people would come in, I'd say, well, I'd like for you to start eating 5 times a day. They're like, no, there's no way I could never do that. I'm going to get so heavy. I said, just trust, have a little trust. I understand this isn't how we were raised, but if we trust each other, let's make this happen. And without question, people used to be able to change the way their body was acting. And they would lose body fat, they would lose inches, and they're like, I never thought in a million years this would work for me. But it's always about being open to suggestion that's going to be better for our health than not. And I know that we get together here on a somewhat regular basis and kind of try to share our insights to what's happening with health, and how can we be preventative in measures, and how can we build the host. And that's actually taking those supplements that you recommended that we take, and so that we can be healthy, and then share that knowledge with other people. So is there one last comment you'd like to leave, because we're just about out of time on your end? And again, we always appreciate you sharing your time with us. But I know there's a lot of people that are going to see this video and they're like, I just want one more nugget. What would it be?
Well, I really don't want to date this video that we're doing right now by talking about the craziness in this world, but I'm going to date this video by talking about the craziness of the world, because it's always crazy. Every 2 years it's crazy, because there's something happening politically. There needs to be a transfer of wealth, and there really needs to be a removal of more of our medical freedoms. But, hold on as much as you can. Know that your body is designed to heal itself. You just have to give it the things that it was designed to do that. Take care of your body, sleep, meditate, exercise, eat whole foods, supplement it with things like Life by Secret products when you can, hug somebody, laugh. These are the things that people need to do all the time. If you're doing it all the time, you could have somebody vomit the coronavirus on you and you'll be fine, because you're not going to be immune compromised. So, everybody's scared of the boogeyman. Don't be scared. Don't be silly in this mob mentality that's being created. Trust me, it's coming. There'll be a vaccine. Everyone's going to need the vaccine. If you don't get the vaccine, you can't get on the plane. You can't get near right people. You can't. I'm like, come on. There was a guy named Adolf Hitler once. He almost got away with it, and we're seeing it happen again. So be aware. Be smart. Notice that if it looks like it's ridiculous, it is ridiculous. And I'm telling you right now, it's ridiculous. So my life hasn't changed. This clinic is packed. Everything's. I don't know if you stand outside of Walmart and a Costco and the like, people are crazy. But if you go to a Whole Foods or your Mother's, which we have here, and you go in and out, it looks kind of almost like it was the same. There's just a little difference in awareness. Not everybody watches the news and believes it. The news is there since the beginning of time. I don't know how people have such amnesia and such a short-term memory. But here we are again. How many times was the world going to end? It's not going to end. And I hope your world doesn't end. And if you're feeling immune compromised, then build your immune system. That's it. Do it. Do the things we're talking about. So anyway, thanks for doing this. This is fun, and I love the new title, and it's perfect title.
Yeah. Well, Doc, thanks again for being on this episode of What the Health is Going On. And until next time, let's make sure we stay healthy so we can kind of lead by example and turn the light switch on for people.
I love it. Thanks.
Bye, Doc. Thanks again.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.